Folks, welcome to That Betting Show. March 1st, 2019. You heard that right. Everybody's working for the weekend, and so are Teddy and I here on That Betting Show, your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs. He's Teddy Savransky at Teddy_covers on Twitter. I'm Donnie Seymour at Rightside VP. A lot went on yesterday, Teddy. A lot of money changed hands yesterday, not just in the betting world. Bryce Harper locks down a massive contract with the Phillies. Load management in the NBA, taking nights off back-to-back. James Harden didn't do that, dropping 58. Jason Witten out of the booth. A lot of topics to hit today, Teddy. Let's get right off the bat. Finally, we were talking pre-Super Bowl when Machado and Harper would finally get signed. The final domino drops yesterday. Harper to a major deal with the Philadelphia Phillies. 13 years, $330 million. Teddy, sounds a lot about what you make these days, correct?
Yeah, close. I'll take the under 330 million over the next 13 years, although I'm damn well going to try. All that being said, I do a show on ESPN radio here in Las Vegas, ESPN 1100. I had the opportunity to talk to a couple of odds makers yesterday about the Bryce Harper signing. And basically, word on the street is, there was some adjustment in the season win total went up 1. The World Series odds went down a little bit. The odds to win the division went down a little bit, but by and large, most of this was already priced into the Philadelphia Phillies for 2019. The betting markets had been betting on Philadelphia in anticipation of the Bryce Harper signing, so we didn't see any big moves. The markets had already priced it in that Bryce Harper was going to Philadelphia. That being said, $330 million guaranteed. Dude, that contract at the end is going to be worse than Pujols. Because remember, they can't put him out at DH when he's 38 years old. They're going to have to find someone in the American League to take that contract at the end.
Yeah, that was an interesting topic that came up, too, on the DH rule there, because what they're anticipating, or at least the Philadelphia Phillies are hoping, that the DH does come to the National League eventually. So in those later years, you can hide him there. Teddy, you bring up a really good topic there, because you saw a slight adjustment in the odds. They moved to 10-1 at DraftKings in New Jersey. Win total now 88.5. But there's a lot of mystique that goes into this, because we see it on a day-to-day basis, whether it's Major League Baseball, whether it's college basketball, college football, the NFL. Outside of like Aaron Rodgers, a mysterious injury, before the game, the line's going to drop a lot. But talk to the people a little bit about pricing and what, forget about Las Vegas or offshore, just pricing and the mindset that goes in that. The odds makers have this stuff already built into the line most of the time.
Well, exactly. And it's a situation where, Harper's officially in Philadelphia, but the markets have been moving in that direction all off season. Reminded me a little bit of the LeBron situation when LeBron signed in Cleveland. And the rumors swirling in the days before he signed, after his tenure in Miami, where he ended up back with the Cavs looking to win another his first title in Cleveland, which he ended up doing. But the markets adjusted before the move was made, and all the money came in on Cleveland to win the East and to win the division and to go over their season win total, et cetera, before the move actually happened. It had already been priced in. It's a similar story here in Philadelphia. The markets aren't sleeping on rumors. What's the old Wall Street adage? Buy on the rumors, sell on the news. There was definitely some of this with the Philadelphia Phillies and the lack of adjustment now because the adjustment's already been made.
Teddy, talk about lack of adjustments. How about the Miami Heat defense last night on James Harden's 58 points on a back-to-back night effort? We talked about it yesterday on the show. What are you going to get out of Dwayne Wade? What are you going to get out of James Harden? Because the second of back-to-backs, maintenance days, load management, 58 points. But if you were a backer of the Rockets and you woke up and you saw Harden had 58, woo, Teddy, easy cover here. Not so fast. Miami Heat had the lead at the end of the halftime and also at the start of the fourth quarter. A surge by the Rockets gets it done for them winning, but did not cover the 9.5. But the total easily goes over 121 to 118. Harden 16 for 32 from the floor, including a perfect 18 of 18 from the line last night.
Yeah, Harden went nuts. Didn't make a difference ATS. Miami was a wire-to-wire winner in that ballgame, but at least for the straight-up victory, Harden getting back on track. And for DFS players, if you had him last night, it was probably a good thing for your lineup. His quote, "I wanted to be aggressive and continue to attack the rim. I took my shots when I had the opportunities, and not only myself, but Austin Rivers, Gary Clark, Chris Paul made some plays down the stretch. It was a total team effort tonight." Yeah, total team effort. They still never sniffed the point spread cover, and that's all we care about here on That Betting Show.
Talking about sniffing the point spread cover here, Teddy. Very rarely do we talk about the underdogs, the underdogs of the Pac-12, the teams that are looking to get off the schneid. How about an 0-15 start to avoid 0-16? The Cal Bears cash in as a major underdog, getting 11.5 at the closing gun at home, cashing a ticket money line of plus 650 last night. And the Huskies came into the game, Teddy, winners of 15 of 16. But we see these miracles in the sporting worlds happen nightly here. Cal Bears off the schneid. Can they make a run in the Pac-12, Teddy?
No, Cal's not going to make a run in the Pac-12. We'll give them credit for last night, but boy, you look at if you watch the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Mike Hopkins went nuts. He lit into his team. 2 early first half timeouts saying, we're playing lackadaisical defense. They still played lackadaisical defense. David Crisp hung 32 for the Huskies. His quote, "We didn't respect the game. We didn't respect our opponent. We just expected we would come out and win the game. Obviously, you're never going to win basketball games like that." Frankly, for the big picture, this is a great loss for the Washington Huskies. It is. You get slapped around, you say, hey, when we don't show up, where intensity's not there, we can even lose to the Cal frickin' Bears. This is good for Washington long term. Was not good for Huskies backers last night.
Yep, nice little teaching job there, coaching decision they can make moving forward. Say, look, guys, you lost to Cal, so I'm going to have your ears for over the next couple of weeks. We can make a run and certainly see what we can do in the Pac-12 tournament. It's March, Teddy, that we talked about opening the show. And I'm looking at the screen right now. March 20th is opening day in Tokyo. The Oakland Athletics and the Seattle Mariners. Each and every day, Teddy and I are going to take a look at a new baseball club today. And get excited, people. We're looking at the Royals, 58-104 in 2018. The Royals head into the 2019 season, Teddy, 250-1 to win the World Series. Over-under on the team total, 68.5. Not a lot to love about the Royals. Teddy, not a lot to love about this division, right?
No, I mean, again, on opening day, the Cleveland Indians will clinch the AL Central title. There's no one in this division that's going to give them a run for their money unless everybody on Cleveland gets hurt. When it comes to Kansas City, this is a team that lost 23 units last year. They were numbered 27 out of 30 MLB teams in profitability. Very hard to make money if you're betting on teams like that. They were minus 10 units on the road. They were minus 10 units at home. There was no home field edge for KC. They were a bad road team as well. They weren't good on the run line. They were an under team, which speaks volumes about their lack of offensive production, 82-70 to the under last year. And basically in the winter, what'd they do? Nothing. They bring in Billy Hamilton, the ex-Reds speedster, who can't hit worth a lick but can run really fast. They added a couple of relievers, Homer Bailey on a minor league deal. I mean, it's not pretty when you're talking about what this team did in the offseason, which is basically nothing. And you look at the middle of this order, all right, where you got Alex Gordon, who's been in steady decline, hitting 3, Salvador Perez, who's not a cleanup hitter, hitting 4, and Ryan O'Hearn, who is a fringe 250 hitter in his minor league career without power, hitting 5th. KC's not scoring runs against this year either. I mean, you look at their starting staff, with Ian Kennedy and Brad Keller's a projected 2 right now. Eunice is 3, Ian Kennedy's 4. It's not a good look for KC. I expect them to be a bottom feeder again in 2019.
No, I would agree. I mean, if the starting pitching is not your strong point there, at least you have a pitcher's ballpark in Kansas City to back that up. We take a look at some of those xFIPs of the actual starting pitchers 1 through 4. It's not a lot to like. You got some veterans mixed in with young guys. We'll see what we have. They do always like to bolster their bullpen there in Kansas City, so I do give them credit for that. But look, in this division, you talk about the same thing. Cleveland Indians head and shoulders above. These teams just treading water. Not long ago, Teddy, sometimes people forget, 2015 World Series champion, 95 wins. And then we're looking at the lower level of it, trying to rebuild that in a smaller market with Kansas City. We'll see what happens and takes place. We'll keep on our mission of reviewing Major League Baseball teams on Monday as we get started up here on That Betting Show on our countdown to Major League Baseball opening day. Opening line movers, Teddy. Chicago Bulls heading on the road, getting some juice here. Plus 3.5, down to 2.5 in some outlets versus the Hawks tonight. Total 230. Moneyline split plus 120, minus 140. The Bulls go on the road. Can they get it done?
I'm not surprised Chicago's taking money right now. This team is a lot better now than they were a month ago. And the season-long stats aren't going to show you anything. When you look at Chicago, they're at the bottom of the standings. Oh, they're playing for ping pong balls. No, they're not. They've won 4 of their last 5. The only game they lost was the game that Otto Porter and Chris Dunn missed. Dunn's back in the lineup. Porter's back in the lineup. And the Bulls are making money right now. I'm not surprised at all that they took overnight money and early morning money again against an Atlanta Hawks team coming off a win. The Hawks haven't won a lot of back-to-backs this season. I'll just put it that way.
Teddy, money must be exchanging hands here in the Ivy League. You know, Friday night is for the Ivy League. They usually play it back-to-back and hit it up on Saturday again. This one is interesting. Brown opens up, Teddy, 7.5 offshore and plummets down to about 4.5 and staying steady at 4.5 across the board. Opened up the over-under, depending on where you're shopping, at 139, 137.5. Now sitting at that 141, 141.5 number. But just an interesting thing, because we like to see why lines move. I don't see anything on the updates here where any suspensions just yet or anybody sitting out, or if we're taking a look at a suspension that you just don't know about. But interesting 3-point line move in the Ivy League tonight.
Sure. And this is a significant move across the board. Multiple books. Sometimes one book's going to open here and another book's opens there, and you look and you say, oh, well, the markets really didn't move. Just one book post an outlier number. This wasn't that situation. This line opened 7.5 across the board and got pounded. Why? I don't know. You don't know. I'll tell you this, though. When it comes to the Ivy League is purely wise guy domain. Someone knew something or thinks they know something about Columbia this evening. That's why they've taken all that money.
Yep, suspensions going through there, flew through the locker room. We'll find out shortly, because if you keep in mind, Teddy, that's a 5 p.m. East Coast start, 2:00 p.m. out there for you West Coasters. So we'll know pretty certain about what's going to take place there. Segment 3, watch what you bet here on That Betting Show at sportsbookreview.com. The Trailblazers head north, or should I say stay east, and take on the Toronto Raptors. They've had no problem mowing down the Eastern Conference at this point right now. Blazers versus Raptors, -5, total 227.5, moneyline split, plus 175, minus 205. Live from the Scotiabank Center, 8 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN, Teddy. Money makers, those Portland Trailblazers, 35-26 against the spread on the season, 15-7 versus the Eastern Conference alone.
Yeah, they're red hot right now as well. 4 straight wins on this 7-game East Coast trek. It's a long road trip, and the Blazers might be a little bit fat and happy here, coming off a nice win at Boston for, again, their 4th straight win on the trip, their 5th straight win overall. They've been dominant, as you mentioned, against the East, 18-4 straight up against teams from the Eastern Conference. They are catching points tonight. And boy, you want to quote, a bet on quote? Listen to this one from Damian Lillard. We're focused. Our minds are right. We're playing for each other. And we're getting it from everybody on both ends of the floor. It's been consistent. You get that type of consistent effort from multiple guys, everybody in the rotation. This is what it looks like. I just think we came in Wednesday. We said we won the first 3 games of the trip, but so what? Let's keep doing what we've been doing. All that being said, they will not have one key piece. Enes Kanter has passport issues and will not be able to make the trip up to Toronto for Portland. All that being said, I like the Raptors are playing bad ball right now, coming off a big win over Boston. That was really keyed on their defense. Nick Nurse, that was as well as we've helped each other in a long time. We're pursuing the ball early, making them make another play. And then when they would zing it out to someone, we'd be right under that guy. And we did it all over again. We contested shots really well. Interesting game. Not a game I'm even close to betting on, to be perfectly honest. Maybe you take a look at the under in this one. But the Blazers, not interested in stepping in front of them right now. The Raptors, they're playing good ball. Don't know that I'm excited about stepping in front of Toronto either. So slightest of leans towards the under for this better.
Teddy, forget about home court advantage in that one. Seems like home country advantage there, where you block another player and just say, hey, he's got some passport issues, going to have to sit this one out. Good on those Toronto Raptors squad. See if it plays out from there. Greek Freak goes to Hollywood to battle with Bron. Should be a highly rated telecast in this one, heading tonight, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 Pacific, ESPN live from the Staples Center. The one thing we do know about the Bucks, going on the road has been profitable, Teddy. 18-11-2 on the season. The Lakers, and sometimes you say that Yankees tax, maybe there's a Lakers tax, or they're just being, looked at too much, so to speak. Lakers, 25-34-2 against the number, 2-5 against the spread as a home dog, Teddy. Not paying dividends for Bron and the boys right now.
Yeah, they're going to be home dogs a bunch in the next couple of weeks. They've got a little, a tough scheduling stretch right here. They play tonight against Milwaukee, at Phoenix tomorrow, and then home games against the Clippers, the Nuggets, and the Celtics. They could be home dogs at least twice during that span. I'll be interested to see what the number is against the LA Clippers. Lakers probably favored in there. But, one thing the Lakers are doing right now, they're burning LeBron. LeBron played 37 plus minutes in each of the last 5 ball games. LA got the win and the cover for most with the 6-point victory over the Pelicans that they absolutely needed. But certainly from a defensive standpoint, the concerns are still there for the LA Lakers. All that being said, Giannis isn't right. He was held to just 24 minutes in the win over Sacramento on Wednesday. That was their 6th straight win. The Bucks are playing really good ball right now. And the goal was to play him even less in that game. He played just 19 minutes when the Bucks were building a lead, and then he had to put him in the fourth quarter. And Giannis wasn't in rhythm, and the rest of the lead evaporated. It's worth noting, in overtime, game on the line, Giannis is on the bench. He just played 2 seconds in the OT when the Bucks needed to inbound the ball late. So that's a concern here if you're going to lay points with Milwaukee tonight. The best player may not be on the floor during crunch time.
It's March, Teddy. That means March Madness. So why don't we go to a place that hosts March Madness in the first 4? That's Rhode Island, heading on the road to the University of Dayton Arena in Dayton, Ohio, to take on those Dayton Flyers, 7 p.m. ESPN2 tonight. Rhode Island 11-16 on the season, 3-9 against the spread on the road, and 6-9 against the spread versus A10 opponents. Dayton 12-14-2 against the spread. Kind of interesting here because when you think of Dayton, you used to have a really nice home court advantage, but not so much in the ATS category, Teddy, coming in 5-9-1 against the spread at home, and only 7-7-1 against A10 foes this year.
Yeah, and the money's come on the underdog in this ballgame. They're not betting Dayton, and a lot of it is spot-wise, all right? The Flyers, my clients and I were on them at UMass earlier in the week, and that was as easy as it gets. They blew them out by halftime, 72-48 finale in that contest. And it was all, I think they hit 14 out of 17 from the floor in the first half. They literally could not miss. That was kind of the story the first time they played Rhode Island. They won that game 77-48. They opened the game with a 12-0 run. They led by 21 points in the first half. Head coach Anthony Grant worried about taking them for granted in the second meeting. Quote, "This game against Rhode Island, the second time we played them, will be a big challenge for our guys. Our third game in 6 days. We've got to make sure we're at our best to get to this next game." Now, Rhode Island, dead last in the country. There's 351 teams in the country, and Rhode Island is dead last in 3-point shooting percentage, 26.6% for the season. That first game against Dayton where they got crushed, 3 of 19 from the floor. Well, last time out, they hit 10 of 21 from beyond the arc, and they blew out GW. That ended a 5-game losing streak in which they played a lot of the top teams, but that was an explosive win. Head coach David Cox, the basketball gods finally took care of us for the last 3 or 4 games. I've seen it in these guys' eyes. I've seen it every day in their work ethic. These guys have lived in the gym. They've been extremely coachable. They haven't started making excuses or pointing fingers at one another, even though it's been a tough streak. I just thought, man, these guys have a tremendous amount of character, and at some point, they'll be rewarded for their hard work. Tonight, we were rewarded for it. Can understand why the money has come on the dog in this game. It is not a spot I'm interested in laying the points with the favorite.
Teddy, in our Off the Mic segment, looks like somebody's going to be dropping the mic and putting on the football helmet and heading back. Once feared as a great tight end in the NFL, obviously Jason Witten, probably going to be a Hall of Famer, goes to the booth under much duress in the booth, but Monday night people who watch that show rejoicing that Witten goes back on the field. But what are the Dallas Cowboys actually getting out of Jason Witten? A 1-year, $3.5 million contract, which can escalate to $5 million. Jerry Jones is fantastic at promotion. We get it. The Cowboy fans are going to welcome this back because he's one of our own. But what production are you going to get out on the field? But more importantly, what production are we going to get back in the booth here on Monday Night Football? Booger McFarland left with Joe Testator. Bet Online lists some interesting numbers here, Teddy. And I like to look at the first one. Peyton Manning would be sensational in the booth. They'd have to pay him a lot of money to get there. But somebody's creeping down there, Teddy, at 100-1. Can we prop John Madden up and put him in the booth?
Well, the irony is that you and I were discussing, is he still alive off air? But apparently he is, so I guess he could be 100-1. If he was dead, he should be at least 200-1. That being said, Randy Moss at 14-1, Boomer at 18-1, Tebow at 33-1. Yeah, these bets, obviously, small limits, largely for entertainment purposes only. But here's the real question. Over under future playoff wins for the Cowboys with Jason Witten. 0.5. What are you taking, over or under?
I'm taking under on that. Yep.
Exactly. So a Witten returns, but it is not likely to be a big impact for Dallas in 2019. In terms of their projections and their powering numbers for Dallas and season wins, Jason Witten doesn't even move the needle one iota.
Teddy, we like to take shots sometimes at people here on Off the Mic segment. Sometimes cruel there. If John Madden had passed away, God bless his soul, would he be 50-1 or would he be higher at like 150-1?
I think he'd be 200 to 1 with Madden just propped up there in a weekend for Bernie's type of situation. Or weekend at Bernie's.
There you go. You only get this type of information here on That Betting Show. That's the show for March 1st, 2019. It's a Friday. We worked for the weekend, as we like to say, both me and Teddy. There's a lot of action coming up on Saturday and Sunday. Return back here on Monday to review the carnage of the weekend and take you one step closer to Major League Baseball. This is your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs, designed to be in under 20 minutes or less. He's Teddy Savransky. Give him a follow once again on Twitter at Teddy_covers. I'm Donnie Seymour, right side VP for That Betting Show Friday, March 1st, 2019. We'll catch you guys on Monday.